in the surf for tourist rammed by a great white shark.
Knocked off her board by this huge fish.
Kimberley Cruise Company given a final warning over safety issues. And the serious message behind all the fun at this year's Royal Show.
Live across Western Australia, GWN7 News with Noel Brunning.
Good evening. First tonight, there's been a shark scare at a popular southwest surf break. A surfer was thrown into the air by a great white shark. It's the second close encounter in the region this month.
This is the state of a backpacker's surfboard after the great white's attack. Tooth marks can be seen and there are chunks missing.
Felt the water move underneath me, and then all of a sudden the girl next to me was knocked off her board by this huge fish, and the pectoral fin sort of followed, and then its tail and the body came out of the water and landed in between it.
Tom Van Veen was surfing at North Point Beach near Gracetown just before 6 p.m. last night. He says a 3.5 metre shark knocked the Belgian backpacker off her board.
Called out to her saying, are you all right? And she sort of responded with a yes, and we sort of just head down and paddled as fast as we could to shore.
Tom compared the scare to the incident involving Mick Fanning 2 years ago in J Bay, South Africa. Beaches were closed today, but despite the risk, surfers were back in the water.
I think it'd be well and truly gone by now, obviously, but the only thing that worries me is having the children out there.
Earlier this month, a group of surfers at nearby Injured Up were threatened by a great white. They say their electronic shark deterrents drove it off. Since 2000, 15 people have been killed by shark attacks off the WA coast, 3 of them in the waters off Gracetown. Brad Smith was killed in July 2004. In August 2010, surfer Nick Edwards was fatally mauled at South Point. And then in 2013, 35-year-old father of 2, Chris Boyd, was attacked and killed. The Westpac chopper will be patrolling beaches throughout the school holidays, and beachgoers are urged to keep up to date with sightings on the Shark Smart website. Christina Simic, GWN7 News.
The body of a man missing since early April has been found. 52-year-old Wheatbelt man Sean Black went missing after leaving his parents' home in Gosnells. He told his family he was heading to Southern Cross but never arrived. His body was found in bushland in Wutating in the Perth Hills. His death is not being treated as suspicious, and a report will be prepared for the coroner. A family-run cruise company operating out of the Kimberley has hit back after being given a final safety warning by the Australian Maritime Safety Watchdog. It comes after a tourist was left stranded on a remote beach, but the business denies the passenger was in any danger.
3 strikes and you're out. That's the message from the Australian Maritime Safety Authority to Broome-based cruise company Ahoy Buccaneers. It comes after an incident in June where a passenger on the MV Oceanic, operated by Ahoy, was accidentally left stranded at Raft Point, a remote site in the Kimberley, around 180 kilometres away from the closest town.
She was actually there for 5 minutes. She wasn't abandoned by any stretch of the imagination. She was there for 5 minutes and our boat came back.
But according to AMSA, the woman was left for 15 minutes and they're concerned that the crew did not have adequate safety procedures in place. It's not the first time Ahoy has come under fire. They've been hit with 3 previous prohibition notices from AMSA relating to the vessel's stability and breaching safety standards. But Mr Gould has defended his family-run business, saying they've got nothing to hide.
We're very much aware of our safety record. As I say, when there's a complaint made to AMSA, they're in a position where they must reply.
The latest incident has sparked this response from AMSA. The direction notice is a final warning for the operator. If the operator fails to comply, AMSA will take further compliance action. This could include the removal of operating certificates. But Mr Gould says this is news to him.
There's been no mention of any final warning in any information we've had, either verbally or via email. There's been no mention of that at all.
Mr Gould says he will continue to operate the business, but changes have been made, including a head count now carried out on the beach before passengers board the vessel. Maylin Chu, GWN7 News.
A program for young people at risk in Albany is having incredible results. Police say it's dramatically reduced youth crime on Friday nights by providing a safe, fun place for young people to go.
These kids and teenagers love coming here to the Albany PCYC every Friday night, and it's not hard to see why.
You can come play basketball, you got the gladiator, you can come play soccer, you get drinks, food at the canteen. It's a really fun place to come.
The program is called Strike. Anyone between the age of 10 and 17 can come and get dropped home at the end. Normally there's around 100 kids. Around 80% of them are considered youth at risk.
It's just important because it gives them something to do, you know, and bored kids walking around the CBD or into the suburbs is not a good fit for the community, so this is really, really important for them.
Commissioner Dawson has, in amongst a number of other, if you want, focus issues that the police are working on, has said he would like to see more involvement by police officers with youth at risk.
Has it made a difference?
Yes, it has. It certainly has. I've been policing here for a while, and the number of antisocial incidents involving young people on a Friday night is negligible.
It's fun hanging out with policemen because it's something not every day. And I really like beating them in basketball.
I do feel safe because if someone's hurting you or making you feel sad, you have somebody to talk to.
It's better than just sitting home and doing nothing.
Just about, you know, and being here and being there for them and giving them opportunities.
Any type of diversionary program that's in place to assist kids getting into trouble is a worthwhile thing.
If the program gets more funding, it could run on Saturday nights too. Stephanie Garnett, GWN7 News.
Police say they're happy with the behaviour of drivers over the holiday long weekend. Most of the traffic was in the southwest. 34,000 cars travelled through the region, and only a couple of hundred motorists were caught for speeding and just 7 for drink driving. In the Great Southern, 3,000 drivers were breath tested, just 7 tested positive. And in Esperance, police charged a 25-year-old man with reckless driving after he did a burnout and crashed into fencing in Nelson. This year's Royal Show is offering farmers the opportunity to discuss much more than cattle and sheep prices. Instead, there's a real focus on mental health and dealing with depression in country WA.
For many West Aussies, the Royal Show is so much more than show bags and rides. It's a celebration of agriculture and gives farmers the chance to come together and connect.
It's about the interaction between city and country people, removing that isolation and celebrating not only the food and the produce, but also the farmers themselves.
Sometimes conversations which start off about animals on the farm turn to subjects much deeper and darker.
The cattle just seem to open the door. People bond with them. You can see how cute they are when they're behaving, and so they start to talk.
Depression support group Black Dog Riders at the show to encourage any farmers who are struggling to talk about mental illness.
Farmers quite often suffer depression. There's all sorts of reasons why they do. A lot of it's financial, a lot of it's to do with the seasons, if the seasons aren't good.
Ross is using his own experience with depression to reach out to others at this year's show.
Depression is a nasty thing. It creeps up on you. And if you save one life, you've done a marvellous job in my book.
Stacey Eldridge, GWN7 News.
It was more wet weather in the Great Southern today and 2 roads are closed because of flooding. This is the Hay River overflowing just south of Mount Barker this morning on St Weerberg's Road. And this was filmed on a beef farm on Beach Road in Narrackup between Albany and Mount Barker at around lunchtime. The farmer says she's never seen flooding like this before. Well, plenty of Southerners are heading north for the holidays, and it's not just the sunshine that's attractive, Shauna.
Thanks, Noel. No, it's the friendly locals. Exmouth residents of a feathered kind were out and about today. This friendly family of emus having some lunch and mixing in with the tourists. Good on you. It was a cooler day for our northwest, certainly warmer for the Kimberley. Still some lingering showers though through the south. That's in the wake of this low we saw here that continued to track further south southeast after dropping some rather big falls of rain overnight to that southern coastline. 40 degrees our highest maximum. Now that was recorded at Wyndham and also at Kununurra, 29 for Broome, while Karratha reached 27 and just 25 there for Exmouth. A cool 21 in Carnarvon, while Geraldton had a top of 19 and 10 millimetres of rain since 9 a.m. Dry today though for the Goldfields. Kalgoorlie got to that 17 degrees. Chilly southerlies were pushing right through the south, 17 for Busselton, just 14 for Albany. Some light showers today. Gin Gin was our coldest spot this morning, 3 degrees, while it warmed up to 17 for Esperance. Now rainfall again till 9 a.m. We've had some very big official recordings to the south coast. We had this 90 millimetres there at Denmark and some really good reports still coming out of the Wheatbelt, 24 millimetres at Merredin. And I'll have more weather details right after sport.
Thanks, Shauna. Still to come, a 13-year-old girl charged with burglary and stealing a car. Plus, the community which came together to help a local man get through difficult hospital treatment.
Stay in touch 24/7 with GWN7 News.
A 13-year-old Geraldton girl has been charged with aggravated burglary and stealing a car. Police say this is the car which was stolen on Sunday. Officers found it half an hour after it was taken. The teenager has appeared in court and was remanded in custody. A house in Augusta has been completely destroyed by fire. Firefighters were called to the blaze on Turner Street at 10:30 yesterday morning, but the holiday home couldn't be saved. The damage bill is around $350,000. Firefighters say the cause was accidental and no one was home at the time. A southwest community has rallied together to help a local man struggling with illness when they discovered that 78-year-old David Lyle didn't have access to a wheelchair during his leukaemia treatments. They hooked up with a motorcycle club who worked hard to put things right.
David Lyle was diagnosed with leukaemia in February. He soon found himself spending a lot of time in Ward 10C at Royal Perth Hospital. When his son Dave, who lives in Capel, came to visit, he found it was nearly impossible to get a wheelchair to take his dad out.
And we waited for over an hour and still couldn't get one. Anyway, apart from all that, later on my son went home to Capel and he decided to hold a fundraiser.
The Capel community opened their hearts and, along with the Bunbury arm of the Ulysses Motorcycle Club, organised a Meals for Wheels community fundraiser.
Big Dave and I, we sat out for about 2 hours and we peeled spuds and pumpkin and got them ready and cooked them.
The event was a resounding success and enough money was raised to purchase 3 brand new wheelchairs, each costing $1,400. The Motorcycle Club went even further, using their own funds to buy a 4th wheelchair for David and Ward 10C.
It was raised at a meeting, could we make a donation, and the branch decided to purchase 1 wheelchair.
Just give them my heartfelt thanks for doing what they've done.
And it's not just David's life that has been changed by the act of kindness. Countless other patients in Ward 10C at Royal Perth Hospital will continue to benefit from using the new wheelchairs in years to come.
This will help them to, as I said, be more mobile throughout the hospital and access a greater range of our services.
Maylin Chu, GWN7 News.
Main Roads are working on a plan to improve one of the most dangerous intersections in regional WA. Just last year, the intersection at Hoskin Street and the Northwest Coastal Highway in Geraldton was ranked the 3rd most dangerous in the state by the RAC. In May, an 18-year-old girl had to be cut from her car after this crash. The community has had concerns about the intersection for years, and now Main Roads say they're working on a solution. They want to create a single-lane roundabout at the intersection, saying it's the best option to improve safety and reduce accidents. They're asking for input from the local community. Still to come in sport, the footy team from the eastern edge of WA, which has won a grand final. Amazing pictures. And the streets of Albany transformed for a major cycle race. Faster and steeper than ever before. Streets of Albany were transformed into a race course at the weekend for the 4th annual Urban Downhill Mountain Bike Race. But things were a little bit different this year. The track was steeper and faster than ever before.
It's not for the faint-hearted. This year's urban downhill went from Mount Clarence down to Lawley Park, just east of town, over some difficult obstacles like a sea container and car. And it was so steep, the riders didn't have to pedal at all.
There's mountain biking and then there's downhill, and while they're all called the same thing, this kind of event just attracts a certain type of rider who just revels in the thrill of, pushing themselves to the limit and making this kind of jump happen.
It was part of the Southern Mountain Bike Festival. There were 5 different races over the weekend and over 350 competitors. Most were from out of town. But the urban downhill was the big one. It started 4 years ago, the first event of its kind in Australia. And it's so hard, riders have to qualify to be allowed to compete.
There's a select few in WA at least that will be able to cope with this kind of course.
And there were a few hiccups. Luckily for this rider, he only got minor cuts and scratches and soon walked away.
It is an inherently dangerous sport. There's big jumps, there's big gaps.
But the riders love the thrill. Perth man Jacob Parker came down with the fastest time of 2 minutes and 1 second.
It's pretty overwhelming, I pushed pretty hard for it. Some fast boys out there, a couple of old mates that were racing up against again. They're real quick, so yeah, I'm pretty happy we've come over first.
Albany's Bobby Cooper was the best placed local rider. He came 4th.
Probably one of the best locations, definitely in WA, if not Australia, I reckon, having the 2-3 hills in town, right in the middle of the town.
Albany's one of the few places in WA where we can have elevation from the top of the hill into the middle of the city, where we can have an urban event.
Stephanie Garnett, GWN7 News.
Last of the country football grand finals took place over the weekend, with the Nunandarraland teams battling it out on Sunday. The Wannan Oval in the Western Desert. More than 400 people turned out to see the nail-biting thriller between the Warracoona Roos and the Wannan Crows. And they weren't disappointed. It was a thrilling finish with the Roos in front for most of the game. The Crows made a last-minute dash for the title and took the lead late in the last quarter. But the Roos were too good, getting back in front just 2 minutes before the final siren. The Roos taking out the premiership by 9 points, 9-4-58 to 7-7-49. A group of young cheerleaders from Kalgoorlie are heading to the National Championships in Melbourne after winning the state competition. It's the first time a regional team has won it, and to top it all off, it was their first time competing.
These Kalgoorlie cheerleaders have struck gold.
First. Yeah!
Well, they've won it. 3 teams from Gold Rush Cheer and Kalgoorlie will represent WA at the Nationals in November, after their team, 24 Carat, were crowned winners at the state championships in Perth.
It felt pretty awesome. Everyone was crying, like even all of our other teams, like they were all just so excited. Everyone was just jumping around going crazy all day.
It's the first time a regional team has won the title, and for Team Kalgoorlie, it was their first time entering. This year's statewide competition was the biggest ever, with 1,700 competitors.
From a regional country town, you wouldn't think that you would get something so amazing. Like, you're just there to have fun and try and do your best.
Now, their sights are on the national title.
Nationals is the biggest competition run in Australia, and it includes teams in Australasia as well. So they actually have 12,000 competitors in Melbourne for that weekend.
These young kids train hard and put their bodies to the test.
It's really fun flying and stuff, because I fly and go up on top of people.
Sometimes it's a bit scary, like if you try new things, but like once you hit the ground, it's all over.
Yeah, they throw you and then you just smile. Yeah, just smile.
And because they came first, they've been invited to compete at Pinnacle, an invite-only competition between the best of the best in Australia.
What we're doing is a sport, and it's hard work, and it takes determination and dedication to get to where you want to be.
Brendan Crew, GWN7 News.
Well done to them all. Sean is back next with your midweek weather. And then ahead in 7 News, the model maintaining Shane Warne hit her, even though he won't be charged. Now, Fuel Watch, keeping you informed on where to find the cheapest fuel prices where you live across WA. For a larger list of towns, check the Fuel Watch website online or phone 1300 304 054. Weather time, but first, Shauna, a couple of birthday announcements for us.
Yes, thank you, Noel. Our congratulations to Vincenzo Zambo, who is celebrating his 95th birthday, and to Lucy McGuckin, who's turned 90 years young, both from Albany. We hope you've had a wonderful day, very much deserved. Now, onto your weather. And that low moving well out of the picture tomorrow. It is still going to be a little bit cloudy south with showers over western and southern parts of the south. Much of that, though, should be well back to the south coast during the afternoon. Now, we've also got this cloud band you can see through here, through parts of the north, with showers possible for the East Pilbara and also through patches of the interior. Look, it's pretty much the same for the Pilbara on Thursday, and there's also a weak cold front that is going to mix through here with quite a section of cloud through here. Now, that's expected to bring showers sitting southwest of a line from Geraldton to Northam and then down through to Bremer Bay. But again, skies are expected to start clearing further on Friday as a high pressure system starts to move in. Some morning showers to the west coast and also to the south coast, sitting then west of there, and just a couple of thundery showers also into the Pilbara and interior. But we look to start the weekend with clear skies for much of WA. Showers back to just some drizzle patches along that southern coastline, but still some lingering thunderstorms for the interior. Now, clear skies, 40 is the top. That's for Wyndham tomorrow. Derby's looking at a mostly sunny 35, and it is dry for much of the Pilbara, 30 for Port Hedland, and Tom Price looking at that 23. A mostly sunny 23 for Carnarvon. Still the chance of a morning shower to the Gascoyne, and light early rain for the central west as well. Geraldton looking at that 19. Still some light showers lingering south, and it's going to be a cold Wednesday. 16 for Bunbury, 15 in Albany, and a frosty start for much of the Wheatbelt as well. Merredin also 16 degrees. Still a few millimetres to the southeast coast. 15 as the top through here for Esperance. Mostly dry, but just 18 for Kalgoorlie, and 21 sunshine there in Laverton. Not great boating north tomorrow. Strong wind warnings for the Pilbara coast west and also off Ningaloo. And we're looking at quite brisk conditions there for western waters, around 15 to 20 knots for much of the coastline. Westerlies to 20 knots off Albany, but we have strong wind warnings through here. Further east of that, Esperance and Eucla. And the capitals, there's some late rain, 24 in Canberra there tomorrow, while a shower or two, and 17 for Perth. Good night.
Thank you, Shauna, and that's GWN7 News for Tuesday. We'll have updates for you later in the evening. You can watch or re-watch our bulletins anytime you like on YouTube, and if you'd like to keep up to date with news, go to GWN7.com.au. From our team right across the state, good night, Western Australia.